Yesterday, one of my participants was mapping out her goals and vision, just getting the shapes down, connecting a few ideas. She was sitting in a quiet corner of the room, staring at a massive blank sheet of paper with a black felt tip pen hovering just millimeters above the surface. She was trying to capture a massive career transition, a shifting personal life, and a mountain of daily responsibilities. But her hand was frozen. She was trying so hard to make the lines straight, to make the categories make sense, to make the map look like a finished, polished strategy. But then she paused, her shoulders dropped, she set the pen down, looked up at me with a mixture of realization and relief, and asked, "Wait, is this actually a tool for reflection?" That question stuck with me because most people think of mapping as a planning tool. From the time we are in school, we are conditioned to believe that mapping is about output, organization, and execution. We are told to draw the boxes, list the steps, follow the arrows, and fit our chaotic, beautiful, non-linear lives into rigid spreadsheets and sequential timelines. We believe that if we can just make the diagram detailed enough, if we can just account for every single variable, the future will somehow behave itself and fall into line. But that's not what it's for. Not really. This obsessive need to plan is often just a defense mechanism against the discomfort of the unknown. We construct elaborate, fragile roadmaps to soothe our anxiety, mistaking the neatness of our diagrams for actual control over our external circumstances. When the real world inevitably disrupts those plans, we blame ourselves for not planning better, rather than realizing that the tool itself was never meant to be a prison of our own making. A map isn't a prediction. It's a way of seeing what's actually in your head, laid out where you can look at it instead of carrying it. Our minds are incredibly poor filing cabinets. When we keep all of our worries, ambitions, unresolved conversations, and half-formed ideas locked inside our skulls, they don't sit quietly in neat folders. Instead, they bounce around, colliding with one another, generating a constant low-grade static of cognitive overload. A single minor chore can feel just as heavy as a massive life decision because they are both floating in the same dark space, competing for your immediate attention. When you take those thoughts and externalize them, putting them onto a physical page, something profound shifts. You translate a complex, invisible emotional burden into a tangible spatial landscape. You transition from being trapped inside your thoughts to standing on the outside, looking in. You give yourself permission to look at your life with the objective curiosity of an explorer rather than the frantic panic of someone who is lost. When life is unpredictable, and right now for a lot of us it is, you can't map your way to certainty. No level of meticulous color coding, no hyper-optimized morning routine, and no 5-year strategic layout can stop the unexpected shifts of our modern world. Trying to find certainty through planning is like trying to build a fortress on shifting sand. What you can do instead is map your way to clarity. In the process of raw, unpolished mapping, you begin to observe the hidden undercurrents of your current reality. You see the connections you didn't notice before. You might notice that a seemingly small, recurring frustration in your weekly routine is actually linked directly to a deeper boundary you've been hesitant to establish. You see what's actually driving your stress and what's just noise. You begin to realize that half of the items on your mental to-do list don't actually belong to you. They are just expectations you've passively absorbed from the world around you. That's the core idea behind mapping the unpredictable. You're not trying to outplan chaos. You're trying to see it clearly enough to move through it. Moving through chaos requires an entirely different posture than executing a rigid plan. It requires agility, presence, and deep self-awareness. It means letting go of the demand for a guaranteed outcome and focusing instead on finding your next true step. A reflective map doesn't pretend to know what the world will look like a year from now, but it shows you exactly where you are standing in this very moment. It helps you identify your anchors, the core values, relationships, and practices that keep you grounded, so that when the environment changes, you don't lose your sense of direction. You learn to navigate by compass rather than by a fixed highway map. So here's my question for you. If you mapped out what's on your mind right now, no goal, no structure, just what's there, what do you think you'd find? If you took a scrap piece of paper, a napkin, or a digital canvas and just began releasing the pressure of your own thoughts without any rules, what would emerge? What would happen if you allowed yourself to write down the messy contradictions, the things that don't make sense, the fears that feel too childish to say out loud, and the quiet dreams you've kept pushed into the margins? You might find that the path forward isn't nearly as complicated as your anxiety has been telling you it is. You might find that simply seeing your reality laid out in front of you is enough to help you take a deep, full breath. You don't have to fix the map and you don't have to solve it. For now, just lay it out, look at it, and let yourself finally see.